So actually let me pin myself real quick. Yeah, so I know that some of you guys might have your books, some of you guys do not, but today the whole concept is that there's going to be a task that you guys have to do, and it'll be relating to class today, and you just have to get that done by midnight. So that's also going to count as your attendance for the day. So if you're not on the Zoom call, that's super cool, like you need to watch this back later and still do the task. But your attendance is going to be based off completing that task and sending it to the ag.work@cardington.k12.oh.us email, not my Aaron Wallet email. So you're going to send your stuff to that by midnight tonight. That's your attendance. That's your participation. Kumbaya, way to go. Love it. Yeah. Cool. So if you're on it now, you just get like, well, let's start. Have more friends joining us. Love it. Hey, Autumn, how's life? Yeah.
I have a complaint. So the other day, I was doing laundry and I found a shirt that belongs to my sister that's like custom made for like the Parley Pro team, like their Parley Pro team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hurt that we didn't get one.
I'm pretty sure I told you I would get you one if you bannered.
Oh, well, I don't remember. I didn't remember that, but because that shirt is kind of funny.
Is it the one? Is it their new maroon one?
Huh?
Is it their new maroon one or their blue one from their freshman year?
It's maroon.
That's this year's, yeah. Yep.
I was kind of hurt that we didn't get one.
That's been the deal with them every year, is that if you banner, you get a team shirt. Because they got one their freshman year, but they made it to state sophomore and junior year and didn't get a shirt for that, so.
All right, fine. I guess all is forgiven.
Next year. But isn't the back funny?
Yes, I thought it was hilarious. I was like, I'm going to for that next meeting. I'm going to steal it from her parents.
All their quotes from the year. I was going to get you guys one that just said, so excited on the back.
That would be funny.
Yeah. Okay, so your guys' task for today, I know we're still doing FFA history stuff, so you are going to be so exhilarated today. But your task for today, if you have your books, you can jot this down in them. But I'm just going to go through some FFA history stuff because why waste the day? And your job for today is each time I give you a new year, that just make note of that somewhere, probably, unless you have like two devices and you can like multitask or like do both of these things on the same device. But your task for today is that you need to compose an email. Okay, so you go to your email, hit the compose button, make me an email to ag.work@cardington.k12.oh.us. Subject, today's task or something, I don't know. Or tell me a funny joke in the subject. I always appreciate that. But in the like content of that email, you need to summarize basically the stuff from today. So every time I tell you a new year, you need to have that year in the list and then do like a quick jot about what happened that year. Okay. So if I said 1928, you would list 1928 and then what would you put under that year? This is an easy one.
Future Farmers of America was founded.
Future Farmers of America was founded where?
New York.
Baltimore Hotel in wherever that one place is.
The Baltimore Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. How many people were there?
88.
Nope.
33?
33 from how many states?
38.
18.
18 different states. And they founded the FFA, and that was so exciting. I don't know what that voice was actually that I just did, but it's fine. I hit a whole new decibel there. But yeah, so that is what you would put on the email for 1928. Future Farmers of America was founded in Kansas City, in the Baltimore Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. 33 guys, 18 states. Cool.
Oh, no, Finn, don't
Does that make
walk.
sense to what you guys are supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I spent my lunch today making signs so that we can flip through them, and it's super easy for you guys to see. Crazy, I know. Buckle your seatbelts, guys. We're in for a wild ride. Okay, so little bit of summary here. Let's talk about what's happened leading up to this. In 1917, what happened?
I don't know.
Love it.
Smith-Hughes Act of 1917.
The Smith-Hughes Act of 1917 was passed by Senator Hoke Smith and Representative Dudley Hughes. They passed it, which made what?
I don't know.
It
Ag
allowed
class.
education in high school.
It allowed there to be ag classes in high school. In 1925, they created the FFV. So Henry Grosclose and his buddies made the FFA the Future Farmers of Virginia, which laid the footstones for the FFA. In 1928, the FFA was founded. In 1929, what'd they do?
Adopted national blue and corn gold as official colors.
Yep. In 1930, what'd they do?
FFA created
The creed.
Creed was
Creed was,
adopted in
written.
1933. What did they do?
blue corduroy jacket was adopted as official dress.
Official dress was adopted. Important quarter notes on that. What's on the back of a jacket?
The
Or
school and emblem.
Your school emblem and state. What's on the back of a national officer's jacket?
Emblem.
the association and the emblem.
Just the emblem on a national jacket, but on the
Oh, wait.
state, it says their state, the national emblem, and the word association. And we talked about how that can only be worn by official members. Where are they made?
Some weird sounding county in Ohio.
Made in Van Wert, Ohio.
Yeah.
By a bunch of little old ladies sitting in a factory. That sounds really bad when I just say it that way, but you guys know what I mean. And where were they designed?
Fredericktown.
Fredericktown. By what guy?
The doctor guy, Dr. something.
Dr. Gus Lintner.
Winter.
So remember, there's lint in your pockets. And what did he design them for?
The FFA band.
The National FFA Band. Yep. In 1935, what happened?
The NFA was founded.
The NFA was founded. So for those of you in 8th period, we didn't get this far last time, but the NFA was founded in 1935. That stood for New Farmers of America. It was founded in Tuskegee, Alabama. They named David Simons as the first NFA president. And the NFA, New Farmers of America, was founded as a similar organization, as a sister organization, but for our African-American friends, right? Because at this point in American history, desegregation had not happened yet. They still weren't allowed to use the same water fountains. They still weren't allowed to go to the same high school. So naturally, they weren't allowed to be a part of the same organization. And that wasn't anything discriminatory that the FFA did. That was just society at the time, which not right or wrong, whatever, but it was following kind of the status quo at that time. So they founded the NFA in Tuskegee, Alabama, which, what a cooler city. Such a fun word to say. And their colors were black and gold. So they had very similar jackets, but they were black and gold as opposed to national blue and corn gold. That's so cool.
Cool.
Gnarly, dude. Okay. So your first bullet you should have on your email is 1935. Also in 1935. What's your
We
question?
put 1935 in there too if you already did it in class.
It's up to you. Also in 1935, our membership exceeded 100,000 people. Dudes, Okay, let's back up for just a second. What year were we founded?
1928.
Wrong answers only. Okay, yeah, 1928 was when FFA was founded. And less than 10 years later, there's 100,000 people as members. That's so crazy. Like, that grew so fast, and I think that's so awesome. So, if you remember,
Wait, was it 100,000?
100,000. Yeah,
Okay.
crazy. For those of you OCD, horribly apologize, but we're gonna go out of order for just a second because I forgot this one the other day. But in 1929, the Ohio FFA Association was established. So very similarly to like when America was founded, right? When Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, and then later they sent the Mayflower and the Mina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Okay, took me a second. But very similar to that, and then there were colonies, and like all these different states were founded, and we discovered different states at different times, and they became part of the United States at different times, right? Like you guys know that about history. So very similarly, different state associations joined the National FFA organization at different times. So Ohio was one of the first to be like, that's super cool. We want to be a part of that. And so only 1 year after the National FFA organization was founded, Ohio was like, yo, we want in, and founded the state association. Cool?
So do we write anything under the the lines, like it goes year, event, and then do we write anything under on the lines under it?
For this one, you don't necessarily have to.
Okay.
For the other ones, there's details. Whatever you want to write down. In 1939, so 35 NFA, 39, guys, this one's so close to our hearts. The Cardington FFA was chartered. So 10 years after Ohio was like, yo, we want an association, the people of Cardington were like, we have an ag class. Why don't we have an FFA chapter? Let's do it. Want to show you something super cool. This bad boy is our chapter charter. Okay, so this is the official documentation that was signed that said, hey, Cardington's official. And so it's got really old handwriting on it when they still had like really cool handwriting. But it says, Future Farmers of America, State of Ohio. This is to certify that the following vocational agriculture organization has been duly recognized as an incorporated chapter of the Ohio Association of the Future Farmers of America, known as the Cardington Chapter FFA, in witness whereof we have affixed our signature in Columbus, Ohio, this 7th day of November, 1939. Signed Larry Zaner, Ohio FFA President, and Lloyd Carmody, State Secretary. So they got to sign a brand new charter, and we still have it, and this is a really old piece of paper because it was signed in 1939. But this makes us an official chapter of the Ohio Association of the National FFA Organization, and it makes our chapter's birthday November 7th. So last year we celebrated the 80th birthday of our chapter, and actually we watched a cute little video that our chapter made. If you want to look it up on YouTube, I'll link it on the Google Classroom or on the virtual classroom. But our chapter made like an 80th anniversary of the Cardington FFA video. And, ooh, you know what? Maybe I'll show that in a second. If my YouTube will work on here. I don't know. But we made an 80th anniversary, and I got cupcakes for everybody, and everybody got a commemorative 80th anniversary candle, and we all blew out a candle for our chapter's birthday. Super fun. So actually, I do want to play you guys that video real quick, and I want you guys to watch it because it's so good. I didn't even think about it until right now. Okay, but also I think my computer is going to be stubborn, so let me pull it up on my device. My YouTube channel's grown, guys. Wow, God, so much. So many videos to sort through. Okay.
You have a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Videos posted? Because I totally want to watch those.
Yes, it's mostly classes, but also there's some cool FFA videos on there. Some old like run-ins and stuff. So I want to show you guys this video. Again, we made this last year to celebrate the 80 years of the Cardington FFA. So kind of sketch, but oh, it's got the flowers in it. What a pretty little view. Okay, can you guys see that screen okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so watch this cool little celebratory video here.
In 1939, Cardington, Ohio was a different place.
The world was a different place.
Back when a loaf of bread would only cost you 8 cents, and a new car only $700.
Blockbuster hits were Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz.
Captain America hadn't even happened yet.
But on November 7th, 1939, a charter was signed recognizing Cardington as the official chapter of the National FFA organization.
A lot has changed in the last 80 years.
We've watched as women transition from wearing white FFA sweetheart and FFA queen jackets to being welcomed to wear the blue corduroy, symbolizing official membership.
We've watched as our alumni have grown from leaders in our chapter to leaders in our community and our industry.
We witnessed our community rallying around a new organization. And as high school supervised agricultural experiences became lifelong passions and careers, right here in Cardington.
In the agriculture industry, it's changed too.
Back then, agricultural work was becoming industrialized, as horse-based farming transitioned to a mechanical process in the span of about 30 years.
Now, we take advantage of the technological advances of precision agriculture, including GPS mapping and drones.
The days of slopping our hogs by hand, now most of our livestock farmers enjoy the ease of automatic feeders and waters.
Then, a large majority of Americans were involved in production agriculture. Now, only 2% of our country takes responsibility for feeding the remaining 98% of our world, making agriculture education more important than ever.
A lot has changed over the last 80 years, but one thing hasn't.
One symbol, one constant. One garment every single member of the Cardington FFA has worn with pride and confidence since 1939.
One simple online blue corduroy jacket that connects our community across generations, and that in wearing, we join 700,000 of our closest friends across the country.
FFA membership is bigger than you or me. It's a feeling, a belonging. It's the largest youth organization in the world, and we're a part of it. It's a tradition that mothers and fathers have shared with sons and daughters.
That grandparents can share with their grandchildren and that spans generations within our community.
A passion that siblings have bonded over.
It's our educators investing in our present and our future because they believe in us just like they believe in the future of agriculture.
It's becoming individuals who will be the next generation of agriculturalists, the leaders, the teachers, doctors, nurses, and lawyers, the scientists and manufacturers, the broadcasters and storytellers, all because we have something to call home.
It's embracing our past and envisioning our future. It's our history, our future, our town.
What'd you guys think?
It was loud.
Could you understand it? Could you hear it? Like,
Yeah, we could hear it. It was just like it sounded bass boosted.
yeah. Well, it was coming through the speakers, through the through the speakers of the Zoom, through the speakers of the classroom, through the other computer. So probably.
Guys, I think my horse was in the background.
Probably. That was out there. But how cool is that? 80 years. And you guys are a part of it. So, 1939, Cardington FFA was chartered. Super cool video. If you didn't get to watch it close, I'll put that on the Google Classroom too. But neat stuff, neat stuff. And did you guys see, I don't know, could you guys see the words like in the corner of the screen okay? Could you guys see like the white words in the corner of the screen in that video okay?
Yeah, with everybody's like names and what they did.
Yeah, so did you guys know like Mrs. Scoey was a Cardington FFA president? Mrs. Ramanita was a Cardington FFA president. Ron Karsner, who owns Karsner's in town, like was an FFA president, and I think he did some of that as his SAE project, which grew into being Karsner's. Gail Slack wasn't an FFA member here because he is not from Cardington originally, but he's a huge supporter. Matt Klinger, school board member, farm association member, he was the treasurer of the FFA. Who else was in that video? So much cool stuff that like our town is so tied to this organization, and I think that's cool.
What was the white jacket thing?
So we'll talk about that. Really cool fact with that is before women were allowed into the FFA, which we'll get to here in a few years, they were allowed to be FFA sweethearts. And so that was the sweetheart jacket. And we'll talk about that when we get to that part. So next thing on our history list, in 1942, Ohio FFA Camp Muskingum was established. So it is one of, I believe, 7 FFA camps in the country. Fun fact, Miss Wallet's favorite place in the entire world. It's the happiest place on earth. Sorry, Disney, move on over. Nobody's ever in a bad mood at FFA camp, and I'll literally probably spend a whole day telling you guys about it in the spring, because if I could pick one thing that everybody in our chapter would get to go to, it would be FFA camp in a heartbeat. So, super love this. Hoping we'll get to take lots of you this summer. Okay. In 1944, the Future Farmers of America Foundation was founded. So we have a couple different things that go behind Future Farmers of America at this point. We have the Future Farmers of America organization, which is the national level, right? We have the Future Farmers of America Association, which is the state level. And then we have the Future Farmers of America Foundation, which is not anything tied to student membership. It's its own entity, but the foundation at every level, so there's a national FFA foundation, there's a state FFA foundation. At every level, they are basically raising money to support the students. So Jessica Parrish is our Ohio FFA Foundation director. Right now, she was the state FFA president on the team before I was in that capacity, and her job, like her full-time job, is to reach out to like John Deere, Ohio Corn and Wheat, like all these big corporations, and get them to donate money and do pledge runs of like trying to get individuals to donate and get that monetary support so that the students and the people working with the students don't have to worry about that, but the foundation is raising those funds for us as a separate entity. So if you ever see anything that's like Ohio FFA Foundation, that is what it's referring to. Cool? You guys have questions?
Not right now.
Okay. Fun fact, we're gonna get through the 40s today and then we'll pick up in the 50s tomorrow. Fun fact, I think this is really cool. I was reading through the manual, making sure I was hitting everything, making these signs, and I saw this on there, and I don't usually teach this, but I just think it's really neat. If any of you are into United States history at all, or like world history, obviously what huge event happened in society in the 1940s?
World War II.
World War II, yes. So on all that stuff going on, people being shipped off. If you guys have ever seen A League of Their Own, like literally women were playing baseball because all the men were shipped overseas. So fun fact, FFA had to totally adapt to the way that they did things in during World War II. Like so many FFA members were sent away, they had to make exemptions. Like they basically, you could like redshirt in FFA if you were serving in the war. So like it didn't count against your membership if you weren't in school because you were in Germany. Like they made so many exceptions, which I think is kind of cool to think about, like how they had to adapt to all these things that have happened in our world and in our country since 1928. Because there's a lot of history that's happened since in the last 80 years, right? Like a lot of stuff has gone down in our country that the FFA pursued and endured through. So just a cool thing. FFA had to majorly adapt its operations through World War II and the way that it did things. 260,450 FFA members served in World War II. That's a lot of people. Like a lot of people. And they were FFA members, like literally in your shoes right now, and they were off serving in World War II. 7,188 FFA members paid the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives in World War II. Like FFA members, not like people, like 7,188 FFA members sacrificed their lives in World War II. Like that's so crazy. And I think that's one of the main things that if you guys have ever talked or heard me talk about, like one of the big values of the FFA organization is patriotism and like pride in our country and service to our country. So how better can that be like symbolized and reflected than that many FFA members, again, not people, 260,450 FFA members served in World War II, not citizens, like members of our organization, like high school kids, served in that war. So that's why our official FFA salute, if you guys remember from doing your vocab, is what?
Was I there that day?
Maybe. It was in the vocab.
Isn't it? Wait,
Oh,
isn't it
living-
pledge?
It's the Pledge of
doing
Allegiance. That's why we
learning to-
now, like our official FFA salute is the Pledge of Allegiance. Like that's why we say the pledge at the end of every FFA meeting. If you guys go to camp, we do a flag raising and a flag lowering, which is just like a reflection every morning and every night. And we're just really proud of the people who have fought for and the fact that we have the freedom to do whatever we want, think whatever we want, believe whatever we want to believe. Like we have those freedoms because of people who have served to protect those rights, and we're just really thankful for that. And that's ingrained in our organization. But I just think I was reading through, and like I said, I don't usually teach this, but I just thought that was such a huge number to wrap your head around. Like if you go to National Convention, that times 5 is how many of your peers, if you were alive then, like were fighting in the war. And I think that's crazy. Isn't that cool? Okay. I do the last 40s. 2 more 40s and then we'll be done for the day. So in 1948 also, again, this is just like a fun fact. You don't even have to write this down. But there was a huge membership increase in 1948. Okay, so over 10,000 people attended the National FFA Convention, which now we have like 60,000 people. So you're like, whatever. But in the realms of how many members there were, 10,000 people was a lot. And they weren't used to having that many people in Kansas City. So they literally, so they used to have this in like the municipal auditorium, right? Like a municipal hall is like a gathering center in a town. And the auditorium was where they had National Convention in Kansas City. Eventually they outgrew that, and that's why we go to Indianapolis now. But at that time, they weren't expecting 10,000 people, so they literally set up a folding cot hotel in the basement of the auditorium. So there were so many FFA members there that they found a lot of cots, kind of like when they made the pop-up or hospitals for COVID, like less morbid than that, like happy reasons. But like when they did that, they literally got a whole bunch of cots and put them in the basement of this municipal building for FFA members to sleep on because there were so many people at the convention. So wild. Like you go to Kansas City and they're like, oh, didn't know you were coming. Here's a cot. And you're just in the basement with a whole bunch of other FFA members. What a party. Super cool.
Party time.
Only you would think that that's a party.
Yeah, I think it'd be so much fun. It's like camping. Okay. The last thing, and this one you didn't need to write down, in 1940 that we'll talk about today is in 1948, the first National FFA Week, I made a cake and balloons. The first National FFA Week is celebrated during the week of George Washington's birthday. So that's why National FFA Week is in February, and it's always like the 3rd or 4th week of February because it's centered around President's Day. And so the first National FFA Week was celebrated in 1948. You guys will get to experience that next month. It's so much fun. And they centered it around George Washington's birthday, which he plays a huge part in a lot of our organization, right? We mentioned him in our opening ceremonies. The treasurer is stationed by him. We made FFA Week around his birthday. Like, we love GW. So George Washington, big deal, made FFA Week around his birthday, and we've celebrated it every year since.
Do we have school that day?
Not on President's Day, which President's Day is like a loose, it's like the 3rd Monday in February now. So it's not necessarily like on a president's birthday, but I think it was George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and there's another president who was born like the same week. So that's why President's Day is when it is. So you guys should have in this email that you're going to send me with all this information, you guys should have the following years and then like what happened during them listed in this email. Send it to me by midnight. That'll count as your attendance and a grade for today. You should have 1935, 1929, 1939, 1942, 1944, and 1948.
Did you say we have to write what happened?
Yeah, you should have 6 years listed and what happened in those years. You don't need to like give the long explanation that I gave to you, but a good little, those 6 dates and what happened during those dates. Cool? Easy enough?
Yeah.
Yep.
Are we done?
Sweet. I'm going to stop recording. Bye.